Welcome to the LLE Podcast hosted by me, Alwande Moyo, a law with international relations student, alongside my co-host, Joshua Mtigwe. And today we have a very interesting episode where we're joined by a group of SLAs. Over to you, Mtigwe, please introduce them.
Thank you, Alwande. So over here we have Smitty, the Student Learning Assistant Coordinator. We have Tiana, we have Michael, and we have Dorvish. So, Smitty, please introduce yourself.
First of all, thank you so much for having us today.
Absolutely.
And thank you to the SLAs as well. It's a truly collaborative and supporting experience working with student learning assistants who work together as a team to create positive learning environment and support students with the guidance they need. And we help students build confidence, help them with the study skills in order for them to succeed in their academic journey.
Absolutely. Tiana?
Hello everyone, my name is Tiana. I'm a second year cybersecurity student and I've been in SLA for 7 months.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I am a second year psychology student and I've been in SLA for about 4 months.
Hi everyone, my name is Dura Sherinian Ball. I'm a third year law student, LLE, and I've been SLA for 3 months now.
Very interesting. And just to ice break or bring us into the conversation, what motivated you guys to become SLAs or choose to become SLAs? I'll start off with Tiana.
For me, by nature, I really like to help people. So I found this SLA occasion to it actually helped me a lot because seeing students and me actually helping them is a great achievement that nothing else could ever compete for.
Interesting. Over to you, Mike.
As Tiana said, for me it was very similar. It was really about helping, being able to help fellow students succeed in their academic journey.
Interesting. And you, Davish?
I mean, we have similar ideas of what an SLA is, but my true motivation was to become a backbone for people to come to help for. Because I remember when I first started Middlesex, I was completely lost and I had no one to go to. So I definitely wanted to be a foundation for those people that come and help as helpful.
That's very true. You realize that the SLAs play a very integral part, and students, especially those who are in their first year or first semester, who are still
Absolutely.
trying to find their feet. And I have a follow-up just on that part. Before you became SLAs, I know that, you were trying to find your feet and trying to find your foot, and you ended up realizing that this was the best place to be. Has your perception changed about being an SLA as compared to when you were not an SLA before?
I mean, for me, big time. Like being an SLA, it's definitely an interactable thing. Like it's always, you have to be consistent. If you fall off the wagon, you have to start from zero. And then when I'm by myself, I definitely see the improvement. I'm not a student, but rather a good teacher. Yeah, that's my experience on being an SLA and off being an SLA.
Very, very true.
And we know that every day there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of students coming in on a daily basis. Some even coming to you to ask for help. So please tell me, what does a typical work week for an SLA look like?
So, I mean, you guys want to comment on that?
I mean, being an SLA, we have a very specific schedule where usually we give 12 or 30 minutes to the library, where also we provide one-to-one consultations for students. Whoever who have any problems, especially on the technical side at cybersecurity. So anyone has a problem with their module or even don't know how to do the report, because I get students who tell me that I don't know how to write a report. I don't know what table of contents, table of figures, so that's what we mainly help. And then once it's done, then we just continue with our day.
All right.
Very interesting. Just as a follow-up, just to add on to what you just said, do you have, since you said, or you mentioned previously that you handle thousands or hundreds of students who don't know what they're doing and need help, do you have like one particular highlight, say, throughout your time as an SLA, where you helped someone and their performance in class changed or their low self-esteem became better, or their confidence was improved or increased as a result of their interactions with you?
I do have, because the way I learn is quite different from other students, but being an SLA, I noticed that some students actually need that type of way I learn as well. For example, I'll go a bit technical, but I won't go so deep. So let's say an example of how the internet works. So on technical terms, when a cybersecurity student wants to learn about it, it's very difficult. You don't understand anything. But then I thought about using a scenario, for example. There was one student, she was completely lost. She told me, but I don't even know what the internet is. She's a cybersecurity student, so I looked at her and told her, so you know what, let me give you an example of how the internet works. So I gave her an example of a post office because that's the best scenario I could provide. And I think when she learned that I use a scenario to explain her technical terms, she actually got so much confidence. And now whenever I went to see her, she was like, oh, you know, I use a scenario for this, I use a scenario for that. So that's how you can learn very easily. So for me, actually applying my style of knowledge to someone else, and that has helped her a lot, meant a lot for me.
Any thoughts on that?
I mean, absolutely. Like, we don't gatekeep our knowledges. Like, we always exchange experiences. I mean, I personally have a great story for myself. It was a massive milestone. I saw this one student come to me, and you could see this massive leap that they were from, the trajectory from college to uni, it was there. They were writing like college style, but they weren't keeping up the standards with the uni code. Mm-hmm. And then I took her under my wing. I took the student under my wing, and then she improved her confidence, her writing style, and she was just way more social. She was more like, she became a social butterfly. So that was definitely one of my success stories. Yeah.
Very interesting and impactful. Thank you for your thoughts on that.
And just to add on that point, I'm sure you know people are different and you have had interactions with hundreds of people, but I'm sure there are common challenges that students would face. What would you say are those common challenges?
I would say that while I was attending lab sessions, helping lecturers, when you go around and help students, they expect you to just give the straight answer. Means that they want to be spoon-fed all the time. Because in Mauritius, so before university, we went to college first. There, all the teachers spoon-fed all the answers. They just give you whatever written. But once you come to university, they get a huge culture shock because here it's a lot of independent learning.
Absolutely.
And that's the common mistake I see students, and a lot of misconception as well. So we SLAs, then we look at them, and we try to help them with their them being independent. So that's the main issue I think I see.
Yeah, and following up with that, one of the main issues that I see quite common is the use of AI. And this has created like a laziness among students themselves. There's no more creativity on their work. There's no more, like they tend to do integrity. They say that they're doing it by themselves, but the reality of it is that all the credit goes to AI. Like you can see some of them. So they tend to be lazy. But another hurdle that I've seen with students that, once again, like being spoon-fed. Like they expect us, we're gods. They look at us as gods, like we're here, we're gonna give them everything, but that's not how it works. Nothing is given in a silver platter.
That's very true.
Yeah, so we encourage them to work towards it. For example, I'm towards law side. Instead of like giving them what to write, I tell them to use this book, use that article, go on this webpage. Sometimes I'll even guide them where to get them. So it's way more, I dial it down to them. Instead of like in uni, it's always like a huge chunk and then you have to dissect it your own. So I dilute that for them and it works. I've seen that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So do you have like any tips or nuggets of how you can build or groom independent learners instead of those who want to be spoon-fed or those who want to be guided through everything? Because as you mentioned previously, university is a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely.
Where someone is going to be independent, have that backbone of saying, today I'm reading this, tomorrow I'm not reading that. Yeah. So what are your tips or nuggets on how to groom independent learners?
You see, everybody reacts differently, right? Like one way people I see get independent is by interacting with social groups. People with similar ideas, with similar passions, they tend to like get along, and that's how they grow their independent skill. And one thing that not everyone at an age, some people find it very later in their teenage or like adulthood, they find it to be independent. It's all about personally perspective of how they do things. I don't know if my fellow SLAs agree with me, but that's how I look at it as. Definitely broaden your socialization, and that's how you become independent. You have to make mistakes to learn, and that's what toughens them.
Interesting.
Concerning, following up with mistakes, I think one thing that would really help is doing presentations. Many people hate it, but that independent learning, teaching yourself, because you have to teach a whole crowd about what you learned, and also to the lecturer, so that he or she will ask you questions about this. So that I think that's a crucial part, like getting out of that comfort zone, that cocoon, and just staying on your laptop and going in front of people and telling them what you understood about that topic.
Very, very interesting. Any thoughts, Mike?
She pretty much summarized what I was thinking.
Well, in simple terms, before you learn how to run, you have to learn how to walk. So that's how it is. You have to learn it the hard way.
Take it easy, but
Exactly.
And then also not being scared of failure. Failure doesn't mean that you are a failure. It simply means that you have to try again, to try and perfect your skill.
Very interesting, very interesting. And a follow-up again, what I call double follow-up. So now we're on the double follow-up, and we are in the exam season, and a lot of people are going through mood assessments. Some of the accounting and finance students are taking their exams for the first time for some of them. And what advice do you have for them in preparing for this really crucial exams, which will contribute towards their final mark?
I think mostly students need a lot of reassurance. So I'm not into accounting and technical, but most of them, they just panic very, very easily. I understand it's the first time. It's normal. It's normal to get scared or to panic. But the best thing that an SLA could do is to reassure them first, and then help themselves to become more confident in their work. Because I see a lot of students make a lot of comparisons with their classmates.
Very true.
There's a lot where they say like, oh, but this guy or this girl is very intelligent, but what about me? I learned very late. So all we have to do is just give them some words of advice and then give them confidence.
Interesting. So from what you just said, I get the sense that you must run your own race and pace yourself well, and you eventually get there to the required destination. And any other thoughts, my fellow panelists?
I think that so in psychology we don't have exams at all, any kind of.
Interesting.
So one thing I see, rather than panicking, I see a lot of plagiarism and a lot of procrastination. These are two big things I see a lot in terms of the exam season, especially when it's like a few days before the assessment, you haven't written anything, you have to turn to ChatGPT or to essays online, plagiarize, just cobble up a bunch of resources and sources to pad out your work. One word of advice I would give is to take it at your own pace, but mind the deadlines. Because sometimes when you get assignments, the deadlines seem really far away. But they come back really, really fast. And some people really get complacent with the fact that, oh, well, I'll do it next week. And next week turns into next month, and then turns into 5 days before the end, before the deadline.
I think that's a really good point. And my next question to you would be then, how as SLAs do you balance your life, your studies, and your extracurricular activities, and how has that influenced, or how has being an SLA influenced your studies going forward?
I think that personally, in terms of how being an SLA has affected my studies, I found that teaching people and helping people get better at the skills that I myself would need for my assignments has made me improve those skills. Teaching them, helping others improve them. I've in some cases even gotten feedback, gotten advice from students about how I write, which I find it really good when it's not only a one-way street where only the student learns from me, but when I learn from the student as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Very interesting. And just to follow up on that, or whatever Tibe just said, so we get the sense of juggling and managing to strike a balance. So how has this journey of being an SLA helped you personally, or in your work life, or social life, and how does it develop you?
I think in my case, for me being an SLA, truly I wear that it's an honor for me because personally I was always the student who needed help all the time. So all those years I've been accustomed to getting help from people, but now when it's my turn to help, it does something to your brain, because now you think oh, I am capable of helping now. I don't need to be helped anymore. I can help others now. So that in my personal experience that happened to me. So yeah.
And so through this growth, if you were to be able to go back in time and become a first-year university student again, what would you do differently?
The first, I would become more consistent with my work, because on the technical side, there's a lot of things, a lot of code that you have to learn. You have to practice a lot, and then you get some questions that the lecturer gives you every week to attend. Most of it we just shrug it off most of the time, but if I could go back, I would just become consistent from week one. I know usually first years we tend to take 4 weeks to get accustomed, because you don't really know what's a Moodle, how to use my learning. I know it, but if I knew, I could just plan my stuff from the beginning, and then I wouldn't have so much trouble at the end because I had a presentation as well. So that's my advice.
That's very interesting. Any other thoughts on that?
If I were to go back to being a first semester student, fresh off from high school, the first thing I would do is realize that I could get feedback. I think that me not getting enough feedback from lecturers and from SLAs when I was in first year it's one of my biggest regrets, not taking advantage of the amount of resources that were available to me. Especially in regards to coming to SLAs and asking them, I need help for this specific thing, for this in this particular area. How could I get some feedback on this assignment? And getting feedback from lecturers as well, not asking for the feedback, even though they put a lot of resources out there, oh, here's my email, it's in the student handbook, you can look at it, you can send me an email, you can set up a tutorial, I'm free anytime, I'm free on these hours, just send me a message and I'll do my best. Not taking advantage of these resources that were given to me is one of my biggest regrets, and what I wish I could have done if I were to go back to being a first year student.
Any thoughts?
I mean, for me, if I had to go back in first year, the first thing I would do is ask for help and don't suffer in silence, because law was quite a challenging stuff, and it's mostly literature based. It's heavy, and if you don't ask for help, you're gonna make a lot of errors. And one thing I would do differently is don't consult my peers, because that's where I realized I made a ton of mistakes just listening by them. and that damaged my grades. It also damaged somewhat my reputation. I had to build it up again from scratch. And if one thing I would do definitely, because 3 years in now, and I'm seeing the graduation cap on my head very soon. One thing I'd do very differently is just consult the seasonal veterans. They were here for a reason, and it's a shame that we didn't use them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, interesting. And my next question to you, my fellow panelists, is: has this journey changed your life or your ways of studying or whatever? And how has it done so?
I mean, it definitely is emotional roller coasters. Like, I experience a lot of lows and downs, but looking at my own studies, I realized that it's normal to make mistakes, and you shouldn't judge yourself according to it. And one way it shaped my life personally is that I've become more patient with people. Back then, I would want to hit someone if they talk too much or if they breathe wrong to me. You know, like even the slightest mistakes would annoy me. But now that I realize that we're not machines, you know, we're not a convoluted belt that where minimum errors would happen. We're humans, and that human touch is such a beautiful thing. And I feel like we don't give it enough recognition. And then now that I've taken this task as an SLA, I see that beauty of it. And yeah, it definitely shaped my life in a different way.
Interesting.
To pick up on what Dover said about that human touch, I think this is what really was appealing to me at first for being an SLA. It's that human touch, being able to give, especially in a time where a lot of people are replacing a lot of services, a lot of things with AI, like with therapists and everything. I think that being able to provide that human touch, that human feedback, instead of getting something that was generated by an LLM or something that was generated by whatever, or feedback from someone who you feel you can't relate with, being able to be one-to-one with students really is what being an SLA is to me.
Interesting.
And I think feedback shouldn't always just be positive. Feedback must be honest and critical. And I think that's one thing people kind of try and avoid. They are trying to avoid the honesty. I think that's why people don't usually come to you as SLAs because
because there was one time, I think I just started doing SLA at that time, but I think there were a group of students in my class. They were, when you look at them, you already know they're not gonna learn. So, as kindly as I could, I went to them and said, "But you can't use AI for everything. You have to learn. You can't by accident." I told them that don't learn like a parrot. You are reciting everything like a parrot.
Yeah.
That's then I realized, okay, maybe I was a bit too harsh on them for saying that. But on that note, they really needed to hear this because their intention, they know what they're doing. You can't say that they are first-year babies. They know what they're doing. If you give them a critical or a bad feedback about their behavior or the way they learn, they're just gonna give you side eyes every time they see you.
Like, one thing following up with that, sorry, Michael. A lot of people regurgitate like parrots. Like, you're very right. They're trying to be perfectionists, but in the wrong side of everything.
Exactly.
One thing I noticed with law students is that they tend to memorize things. The law is not always about memorizing. It's about linking. And this is one thing that I struggle with students as well, because they would come to me, they would think they know the law better than me. I mean, I myself I've worked in free firms, I've done legal draftings and all stuff, and then these guys come up to me like, "I know you use ChatGPT, dude. You don't have to rub it on. I know what you were doing. Don't do that to me." But yeah, that's one thing for sure. Absolutely, it's sometimes you also feel like you're just a puppet here. You're just making them master of puppets. That's how it is. It feels like that. Yeah.
Regarding the perfectionism bit, I think that I've encountered something else regarding the perfectionism. One thing I've noticed in my classes and being an SLA as well is I've noticed a trend where usually, I don't know if it's specific to the people I've encountered, but I've noticed that a lot of the people who come and ask for feedback, the people who go ask for help, are actually the ones who need it the least.
Yeah.
The people who are already good and recognize their own failures are the ones who will come and ask for help, or those who are struggling will either be ashamed and not ask for help, or will think that it's a waste of time. I'm already.
Yeah, they're afraid. Yeah.
Like that fear is
it degrades them.
Yeah.
It eats them. It's like a black cloud. It just goes over them. But one thing about what was it you were referring to? Like criticism, right? Some people can't handle it.
Yeah.
Like I generally sometimes feel very annoyed because they simply can't accept the hard truth. It's because mostly as kids, they were just spoiled. Right? Like I see this a lot. Like kids nowadays, they will look at you sideways. They'll look at you differently because they're like, "Who do you think you are?" And I'll be like, "No, listen to me. I am who I am. You are who you are. Just accept it." You know. So definitely, criticism is one thing that they need to learn because now they're entering into adulthood, and if they go to a workplace and their boss is giving them a hard time, like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna resign? You can't do that. That's not how life works. You can't. It's not a video game, you know. You have 3 lives. You cross one by one. It doesn't work like that. You only have one chance. You know?
And I think just to add on to that, Michael and Dovish's point, you don't always have to be struggling to visit an SLA. It doesn't. You don't have to wait until things are now like in a terrible state.
There's a reason why we're here. You know, we're open to anything. And then if we don't have the answer that you're looking for, that's fine. We have our amazing coordinator who is sitting at the right end, who's always gonna give us a hard time. You know, she always like breaks us down and like, no, listen, this is how things are done, and we translate that back to the students. So we definitely get guidance. It's
one thing I just want to quickly add one thing about the criticism point, especially not from the point of receiving it, but from the point of giving it.
Yeah.
One thing I've struggled to do as an SLA is to give critical feedback, being able to be honest with them. Like, if a piece of work they've given me to review has several blaring flaws, I often find myself like trying to sugarcoat it or to try and make it make the feedback less harsh. And to an extent, it is a good thing to not like be overly harsh. But being overly nice with feedback either will not help. It might cause some kind of undue confidence if the feedback is too sugar-coated.
That's true. And just to follow up on that part, I see you guys have been students for quite some time at this institution, and you've been SLAs for quite some time. And do you think throughout this journey, has your career paths or career aspirations changed along the way, or it's still the same?
My answer is always the same. I'm just here for the piece of paper that says congratulations, you graduate Middlesex University. So my passion is somewhere else, but I'm just purely here for the degree. But yeah.
Personally, it's kind of been the reverse. Instead of being an SLA affecting my career prospects, my career prospects are the thing that influenced me to becoming an SLA. I want to work as a professor, so I think that being an SLA would be a good way to gain experience helping people, giving feedback, generally be in that mentor kind of position, helping students be their better selves and reach their maximum potential.
Interesting.
For me, my career is still the same since I think for 3 years or 4 years now, I told my parents I want to do cybersecurity. I stuck by it right now. That's it.
Okay, interesting.
And just to kind of relay back to Dobish's point on coordination, as the SLA coordinator, how do you work together with your SLA?
We have group sessions as well. Plus, we have SLAs who has been assisting in class. Okay, so what we tend to do is, as you can see, we've been trying to reach different learning spaces in order to provide effective support for students. So in that way, students can feel more at ease to come to us, such as table session. We normally have it on a weekly basis on different topics on academic writing, referencing, how to do research, etc. So there's so many topics which students can explore. So this is a way of, I wouldn't say attracting students, but providing our service, since so many students, as the SLA mentioned, some of them doesn't know that we can support them academically, and they don't know that we have a group of SLAs who's willing to help them. So in that sense, I normally work closely with all the SLAs to run this daily session. Sometimes we do have workshops, such as last time we had a workshop on scholar referencing for law students. So this was really, really important for these students because they were not aware about the type of referencing they were meant to use for that program.
I think that's very true because I myself have had a couple of issues with the referencing when it comes to my essays. So I think that really did help.
Yeah.
Those sessions would really benefit, especially first year students. Yeah.
And I think a good initiative is one we had in the morning, earlier in the morning. Outside, we had a group of SLAs who were helping fifth-year students and taking them through academic writing. Yeah, I think you guys should keep it up. You're actually changing
If I can just add
people's
that,
lives.
I think this table session has been helping the SLAs as well. So sometimes when they go through the resources,
Yes.
so sometimes I ask them to review this, see if it's making sense to you, and because they need to understand
Yes.
these topics first. Okay,
Yes.
so these are the usefulness of these table sessions.
Yes. And a question just on the support system of the school. You realize that MDX Mauritius is one of the few or unique institutions the world over which offers various support services such as your wellbeing department, sports department, etc. And we have the SLAs who fall under Library Learning Enhancement. And what makes this department in particular peculiar or different from the other support systems within the school?
I think Tofish and I touched a bit on it earlier. I think it's the human touch,
Yeah.
being able to provide that, and also the relatability. Usually, students will be more wary of asking for feedback from a lecturer, whereas asking for feedback from a fellow student feels a bit more relatable. The advice they would give you would be a bit more relatable than the one you would get from your lecturer. So I feel like being able to get that relatability in the feedback, that human touch, that feeling of knowing you're speaking to someone who's been through the same thing as you, who's been through the same assignments, who's seen the same lecturers, is one of the most unique parts of being an SLA.
Interesting.
And one more thing I want to add, like the uniqueness about this service we provide is it shows people that we're here for them. We care about your well-being, for your assignments, for yourself, because I know students would go absolutely lunatic over the slightest mistake, over a full stop, over a punctuation mark, over a spelling. For example, myself, I'm American. I love spelling American English, but here they give me a tough cookie because I that's what I write, and here it's English. Exactly, it's British English. I have not changed my ways, and I don't think I ever will. But like those teachers can mark me down for my English, it's okay. But like I'm saying, like the uniqueness about us is that we care about you. That's why we provide this. We want you to know that you're being seen, and your flaws are taken as for us to improve. For us to like advance with you students. Because it's dynamic. Students are dynamic. We have people coming from all around the corners of the world with different type of education, different type of perspective, and just having that exposure, us ourselves SLAs, it just educates us as well. There's no, like for example, numbers. There's no end to a number. That's what our experience are like with people. There's never a full stop with them. It's always something new.
And on the point of relatability, this entire panel is peers, essentially. So I would like to ask you, a coordinator, does that relatability of peer-to-peer teamwork then relate to the effectiveness of the SLAs?
I think working with student learning assistant is effective. I mean, especially when it comes to teamwork, because we do communicate often. So we've been communicating very often, especially whenever I need to do a session or workshop, etc. And I think there is one thing which the SLA would agree is we have this trust among us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this trust among us where we can share ideas, we can divide responsibilities, and this actually helps us as a team to provide good support to students.
That's wonderful.
And what would you say to a first year student coming from the JRC or England or Pakistan, and it's their first time here in Mauritius? Everything is just up in the air, and they're just lost in this little bubble of theirs. What would you say to someone who has never visited the LLE office or any SLA? And
Definitely don't listen to your peers. Like, they're gonna tell you that don't reach out. They're gonna make you feel weak.
that's very true.
I've seen this a lot. Like, I remember when I first started out, my group of socializing was just like, no, don't do that. Don't do this. You're giving us a bad name. Like, what do you mean? You're gonna go and we can't go. Like, what is this? It's always like they're gonna demotivate you in some part.
That's very
Because one thing I realized, people who go together go far, and then people who go alone, they tend to like isolate themselves because like they feel scared of being judged.
very interesting.
So definitely, if you're a first timer, don't listen to your peers. Listen to your teachers. They're the ones who are looking after you. Like, listen to them. Definitely listen to people who work here. Like, these students don't work here. They just came here for the experience, for the degree. So definitely listen to your teachers.
Yes. And I think peer pressure plays a huge role.
Massively.
Demotivating someone or even lessening their self-esteem or
Yeah.
confidence. And this is now a task that I'm leaving to the LLE group. So please host a workshop or a small seminar where you encourage children on the effects of peer pressure and how they can try circumvent it throughout their university life.
Following up about what you said, actually in this university, the LLE is very underrated.
Yeah,
Very underrated.
massively.
Because the moment they hear the library, they just don't want to get involved in it. But especially for first timers,
Yes.
it's advisable for them to come here, ask for help, or even attend table sessions. Take a look at what we try to help them about, like referencing, academic writing. Because even myself, I didn't get guidance. I was the first April intake last year. I didn't have any SLAs because most of them were already in vacation. So we had to fend it for ourselves. So I would advise for someone who is in first year right now, take this opportunity. Come talk to us, or come talk to Smriti,
Yes.
or even take a look at how we work.
Yes.
Then students are going to come to workshops.
Interesting. That's a good one.
You know,
We'll discuss it further.
someone has to lead by example.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I hope this episode reaches every student.
No problem. It will definitely reach out to the prospective students, even those who are in the first year and those who want to or wish to study here.
Yes.
And a follow-up question on this is, right now it's the period of exams, and it's exams and it's hectic. There are mood assessments and people are handing in their assignments. And what is one application or tool within this digital age which you are using to organize your work or structure your arguments, or which is your go-to?
As a technical student, I'm very addicted to code code, because in every aspect of my work, I always need to cross-check, especially if there are errors in my code.
Yes, yes.
Well, report, yes, it's only for proofing, just to see the word count or referencings. But most of the time, I need Claude by my side every day to work on my stuff.
That's very interesting. Anything else, Mike?
Personally, I use, there's not one app I would recommend per se, but like I usually work with I have a workflow of several apps that I use to get let's say I need to get a report done. What I would do is start planning in an app called Obsidian. It stores notes, that's where I store my class notes and everything. And then when I do research, I would use an app called Zotero. It's a free referencing aggregator app to keep your references in order. And then one thing I do is I use AI agentically. I often use Quen models to sort of link the notes I have together. For example, I might have very disconnected nodes, like in vastly different spaces on my computer, but that may be related to the same topic.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to have an AI running locally, agentically, and asking it, look through this specific space,
Mm-hmm.
find the files that are related to the specific topic I'm looking at, and then show me where they are. Show me where they are, help me retrieve those files, and use them more effectively to build whatever task I need to build.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend building a whole workflow, consistent workflow, a predictable workflow to go through and get to the result you wish to get to.
Interesting. Any thoughts on that, Debrish?
Well, these two here are very advanced. They use AI. I'm more of an old school. I'm an old timer myself. I love pen and paper. Nothing can beat classic pen and paper. But yeah, I just love the feeling of writing rather than typing. Something about it. The smell of the ink, the smell of the paper, those small little cuts you get on your finger. It's just something about pen and paper. I get, sometimes, for me, with AI, it's like talking to a girl. I'm quite nervous. I'm quite shy because I don't know what to ask her. That's me with AI. So, but pen and paper is it's like a perfect marriage for me. It's like the perfect recipe, and then AI is like the recipe of disaster. So these two are really advanced with technology, whereas me, pen and paper is my holy Bible. I stand by it. Yeah.
Just to take the conversation further and maybe take it to the critical side of the AI. So we live in a digital age where there's AI and this number of technological advancements. Do you think that the future is looking good in terms of the point of view of AI and academics, or it's looking bleak?
It really depends. It depends heavily on how you use it.
Yeah, it's the individual.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Learning how to use it properly, using it ethically, using it without getting over reliant, losing your skills.
Yes.
Depending on it to do what you were meant to do is one of the biggest aspects of using AI responsibly, and that's something I've seen a massive lack of. Responsible use of AI, acknowledging the use of AI at any point where you're using it. I think that is where I would stand in seeing that it's a bit bleak to see a lot of skills going to waste, going to, when you don't use a skill, you lose the skill eventually. Mm-hmm. And seeing that happen to people who have seen be really competent, losing those skills to AI has been kind of sad, really.
Interesting.
Well, for me, as long as they don't replace, I know AI is never going to replace my passion when I get the degree, but I do definitely see a massive change. We're becoming heavily dependent on it, and it's just killing creativity. We're living this luxury where everything's at our access, but we also are forgetting the we'll call the minnow aspect of life, what happened to the old school? Why wasn't it appreciated enough? Why is it now easy? Back then, it was a luxury to struggle. Nowadays, everything is just given to you.
Regarding the creativity point, one area where I have been trying and I've been quite successful at keeping the creativity is in coding. I personally code, but I don't need to do it for my courses. So I try to struggle. I don't need my outputs to be good or perfect. I just want to have something creative, fun to do.
Challenge,
a challenge. I want to have a challenge. So that's one aspect where I feel that I've been trying to keep the creativity, keep my skills, despite the soft pressure of people using AI for everything, like especially in the self-improvement kind of community. You see a lot of people using AI for this or that. I built an AI that does this, I built an AI that does that. And I think that using AI to improve yourself can be a good thing, but it gets to a point where you're just improving the AI at this point.
Yeah,
you're not
absolutely.
improving yourself.
And I think it's really imperative that people or students in particular learn to use AI as a tool and not just a cheat code. Because at the end of the day, yeah, sure, you might get away with it in university, you've got 90s, you've got distinctions from using AI, but then when it comes to an interview, you have none of those skills, and
That's
now
very true.
you're in a tricky situation.
That's very, very true. Very, very true.
I think this is the time for them to enhance their skills, especially at university.
Absolutely.
So they need to be mindful while using AI and think about how they can enhance their skills. This is what they would be using in their future workplace.
Exactly. AI is not really it's not a thing you can avoid.
Yes.
It's a skill you have to learn to use responsibly because it gets to a point where if you start replacing your own skills with AI workflows, it gets to a point where even in the job market, when you get a job and you're using only AI to do the stuff you're supposed to do, it gets to a point where why would your employer need you if you're using AI to do it?
Yes.
I think that AI, I only use AI when I know that I can trust the output and I can bear the consequences of if the output is incorrect. That is, I think, a good philosophy to have around when and how to use AI. Being able to bear the consequences for if the information is wrong or if the information is misrepresented, especially in writing. In writing essays, reports, and
No.
That's very true. And my question to you is, we realize that I've been here, I'm a first year law student, and I've been here for the past 2 to 3 months so far. And in the first 2 weeks, I didn't hear about the SLA group. And yeah, after that, that's when I got to know about that the existence of an SLA group and how they will assist me in my academic life. So how do we as new students or as first year students coming from our various countries reach out to the SLA group or the SLA cohort and ask for their assistance? Where do we go? Who do we see? Yeah, please take us through that.
You go and see Smriti first, because according to your degree, what you're studying, she's going to assign you like SLAs and on which days you are free, and the SLAs are free as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what we do is we've been sending our newsletter every week to students. So new students should be receiving our newsletter. And if they think that they need support on any specific topic, or if they don't know how to do research, etc., they can just come to the library counter. Okay, they can just ask any staff for support, and they would be assigned to an SLA according to the program.
Interesting.
Or they can even come to see us at the table session, because we have table session every week.
Table session
So
every week.
so if they think that they want to approach an SLA, then they can let the SLA know that they need support, and if that SLA can't help, these SLA can redirect them to the other SLAs who can support them.
Interesting. So the long and short of it is pitch up in the library and ask,
So library
and they will direct you. Okay.
Or the table session,
Okay.
and they can even speak to the SLAs,
Okay,
because the
interesting.
SLAs are aware about the SLAs we have. So there's various ways if they want to seek help, they can come to us.
Like when you do come here in the library, it's definitely going to be like the song "Knocking on Heaven's Door" by Guns N' Roses, because you're definitely going to get some good guidance, definitely. Yeah.
And my last question before we wrap this up is, a lot of philosophers echo this quote that our greatest rent that we can pay here on earth is helping others. So what has this journey meant to you? Have you helped people, and do you feel satisfaction or satisfied from doing that?
Yeah, massively. Like seeing someone succeed and you were part of that help as well, it just takes it to another level. You know?
Yeah, seeing the joy in people's faces when they've been able to overcome a specific issue they've been having, a specific block they've been having, a specific misunderstanding they've been having about a particular topic. That joy, their face lights up.
And lights, yeah.
It
just illuminates.
Yeah, it's
It
so
just illuminates,
fulfilling.
That's very, very true. And over to you, Josh.
Right. So my final question to the SLAs would be, in one sentence, what would you like every Middlesex University student to hear from you?
To be honest, it's to be more confident in themselves. As I mentioned before, so many of them, they are so focused on comparing themselves to one another, where each of us are very different in our own ways. So just be true to yourself, be yourself, and be confident. Because at some point in life, you're going to succeed, you're going to fail, there are going to be ups and downs. It's part of life. But we focus so much on the bad, where we don't see the good of what's happening inside. For example, I'll take a dessert that I really like, a crème brûlée. Like you see on the top, it's burnt.
Yes, sure.
But when you get to the bottom, it's a sweet crème. So that's how I see failures actually.
Yeah.
It's very sweet at the end, because okay, you might have gotten some down, but at the end you're getting a sweet treat out of it.
Yeah.
You learned something.
Interesting.
Very true.
And this brings us to the end of our interview, this end of our very wonderful and amazing podcast with our group of SLAs. And as you've heard from them, viewers at home, viewers from wherever you are, that come to the library, inquire, and you'll be redirected. And in closing, Martin Luther King Jr. says, we are running for the fierce agency of the now. And indeed, we are running for the fierce agency of the now. Act now, see your local SLA, and be there. Catch us live next time. Thank you.
Oh, wait, before we do end, I want to leave this room with a quote from Ricky Bobby. Shake and bake, folks. That's what all life is about. Live